You're listening to Achtung Millwall, broadcasting from the beautiful South Birmingham. Accept no substitute.
Hello dear listeners, welcome to a cool grey spring afternoon here at the Den for the visit this afternoon of our promotion rivals, playoff rivals, Preston North End, form side listeners. They're coming into this do or die fixtures, a must win, 4 wins out of their last 5. Millwall by contrast can't score a goal for toffee, dear listeners. We're just awaiting the entry of the 2 teams on the big screen now. Your Millwall Lions this afternoon, a conservative choice. Did you expect anything else from Gary Rowett, George Long's in goal, backline Murray Wallace, Jake Cooper, Sean Hutchinson, Danny Mack, defensive 2, Billy Mitch, Jules Saville, the attacking 3, Oliver Burke, Zian Fleming and Andreas Vogel-Sammer, up front the lone striker Tom Bradshaw, George Honeyman of course injured for this crucial fixture. It's do or die stuff now, listeners. We need to find our mojo, our momentum, our moxie. We need our moxie. Where's it gone? Have you got it? We haven't scored a goal in 4 games. Very, very average performance, or poor performance, let's get it right, poor performance versus Hull City on Easter Monday. But here's a chance to put it straight this afternoon versus Preston. We've really come in from nowhere, as so often happens with playoff football teams. Find momentum and come in from out of the clear blue sky, is rather what we've had with Preston North End. They're wearing their familiar traditional lily white shirts and dark blue shorts. Millwall in our familiar dark blue shirts and white shorts. On the bench this afternoon, Bart Bielkowski, George Evans, Scott Malone, Jamie Shackleton, Duncan Watmore. Good to see Mason Bennett back in the fray, and Roman Esse. Every game's a cup final between now and the end of the season. We really, really need a win. I don't think there's anywhere to run to or anywhere to hide if we don't win this afternoon, listeners, and that does involve scoring a goal. We had a good few chances up there at the KC Stadium. It's not called that, I know, but I can't remember what it's called. Proud and fine voice. Looks like it's a little shy of a full house, but it's pretty good. I think I read yesterday 2,000 tickets remaining, so that would be, I don't know what, 1,000 maybe left now. But it is another cliche. It's cliche time in our own hands. Preston with Troy Parrott at number 15. Player who his career never quite took hold here, of course. Much rated when he first arrived. I must admit I bought the hype. I will admit, did you buy the hype, listeners? I did. No money back guarantee on that hype though. And there he is playing for Preston. Let's see how he does this afternoon. Gary Rowett, talking to the London News Online, says he's got a calm approach to the playoff, and quoting Derby County from a few years ago when he managed Derby as a perfect example. You've got to hold your nerve, says Gary Rowett. You've got to hold your nerve. The Den is famous for holding its nerve, listeners. Now it's going to be Millwall to kick us off. Attacking, of course, the away end in the first half, in accordance with the writings of the Venerable Bede in 9th century Anglo-Saxon England. He was very specific on that point, that Millwall must attack the Coldblow Lane end in the second half. He made it one of his earliest points of principle. It's very unusual, considering we didn't exist at that time, but he got it in now. Zian Fleming's going to kick us off. Away we go, do or die. The denouement of the season looms, just 5 more games to go. Watching that dispiriting loss at Hull City, in the end it was dispiriting. Obviously we had a fairly good run of play in the first half, and then late in the second half when we were chasing the game. But I had a memory of the old wacky races. There used to be the Arkansas Chuggabug that was falling apart as it drove along. I've got a sense of that with our season. This is a shot on target from Parrott, actually, from the tight right side of the penalty area, tight angle over the bar, but it had power on it. Early chance for Preston there. Just 1.5 minutes on the clock. A lot of calls online and on our chats, on our shows for Roman Esse to start, but he is on the bench. Gary Rowett putting his faith in experience. Vogelsammer and Burke to some extent. Burke had a decent game by Burke standards at Hull City. But you do get a sense he's a player where we're looking for more, we're looking for better from Oliver Burke. He's got the capabilities, he just doesn't produce the goods, does he? I think one effect of that disappointing loss up there at Hull has been to take away some of the hype from this fixture, listeners. It is a huge fixture this afternoon, make no mistake. Preston are in 7th position but on equal points with us. Results last night, I think Norwich got stuffed 5-1, so that's gone in our favour. But this is up to us here this afternoon. But there's been no hype about this one in the way that some of the other games we've had this season have been built up to be massive, massive fixtures. This is a massive fixture, but it hasn't had the online build-up that you might have expected. No bad thing, in my opinion. We don't really deal very well with being the favourites. Historically, we never have. It's not in our DNA. We are the eternal underdogs. Murray Wallace coming out of the game. Must have picked up a knock there. Malone's going to come in. That's an early change in plans. Scott Malone comes in 7 minutes on the clock. I saw Murray having a word with the medic at the side as he was just an earlier passage of play. Referee gives down ball there. He must have said he's got a twinge or something. I know that feeling. I went to the gym the other day, listeners, and I got a bit of a twinge afterwards. There's a train serving the southeastern suburbs of London, trundles past beyond the Coldblow Lane end. Flags fluttering gently in a breeze. It's got a very summery feel to it. But poor control there by Burke. Almost gives the ball away. We do recover, thankfully. I sounded a bit bitter about Oliver Burke there, but I just... you expect better from a player of his standing. He starts to question whether that standing is overhyped. Again, there's that word again, listeners, overhyped. Ball spreads. This is Vogelsammer now on the left side. Taking him in. He's got Malone overlapping him. What can he do? I thought we'd taken it too far. This is now Jules Saville. This is Scott Malone. He does a little take and turn. The Preston defender puts it into touch. Good play there by Scott Malone. Really nice Cruyff turn almost. 13 minutes in, listeners. It's going to be a Zian long throw, obviously in the injured absence of Ryan Leonard. Jake Cooper and Sean Hutchinson have gone forwards, almost on the goal line. This is almost on the head of Sean Hutchinson. Malone now finds Fleming again on the left side. What can Zian do? Balls into the mix. Beautiful crossing from Zian Fleming left side. In for 1-0 off the head of Tom Bradshaw. 1-0 Millwall. Close range flick header. I'll have to see it again on the big screen, listeners. Let's have a look. In comes the cross. Bouncing around. No, it comes in the second time. Vogelsammer's cross comes in. Fleming's cross, and it's flick-headed in by Tom Bradshaw. Nicely taken. You'll see all these chances on your YouTube tomorrow morning. I'm staring into a sunlit big screen here at the Den. That's enlivened the Den somewhat. Zian Fleming, of course, with the left side. I think I said everybody. I can't remember how many people I said put that left side across, and it was Zian Fleming, listeners. A lovely, lovely little flick header in from Tom Bradshaw. Well, that feels like a weight off my shoulders now, dear listeners. 15 minutes in. That's first goal from open play since the Battle of Trafalgar. I think that was the last time we scored a goal from open play. When our Lord Nelson took a bullet. His shirt on display at the National Maritime Museum, of course. Anyway, it's Preston pressing forwards now. 17 comes towards 18 minutes. Chance from, it was a great shot. Ball going to the round. I thought great shot and save by George Long now. Ball Mill on the break. This is Zian Fleming on a run through. He's got Tom Bradshaw overlapping him. He couldn't find the right pass. It falls to Vogelsammer. Will he have a go? He may well do. Ball Jules out wide right there. It's a great save earlier on by Jules Long. Players continued. That's a ball in at 4 by Danny Mack there, listeners. 18 and a half minutes. Yeah, great save. I thought for a moment the Preston man had picked up on the rebound, but it was cleared. So good defensive work to throw into that little cocktail. Speaking to the London News Online, Gary Rowett said he's looking for a little bit of quality from a team like ours. Yeah, this is what your moments are going to hinge on. If we created nothing, he said, this is talking about last week's loss at Hull, I'd be disappointed, but we created quite a lot. We need to start scoring that. Well, we've done that so far. This is now Zian Fleming. He took on a shot from distance there when really the ball was wide to Scott Malone, who's overlapping in 19 minutes. A little self-indulgent perhaps from Zian Fleming. Preston have looked dangerous on a couple of occasions coming forwards. We need to be on guard with them. Referee letting a lot go. Tom Bradshaw thought he had a free kick there, but not given. This is the 10 now for Preston. Great work by Saville, but they've still got possession on the left side of the Mill penalty area. It's gone into touch. Ticking towards the 22nd minute, listeners. They've sprayed the ball about quite well going forwards. This is Parrott finding the 28, I think, on the right side. It's a ball across the face of the goal. Parrott wasn't following that one in. 25th minute. They moved the ball very quickly, and they have looked dangerous on occasions. So you know we are clearly up against a decent side here. Billy Mitchell was nominated for Men's Young Player of the Year at the London Football Awards. Yeah, there's a story on London News saying he thought it was a hoax. He thought someone was pranking him when he got nominated. That's a loose ball. This is given to the 11 now in midfield. 27 comes towards 28 minutes. This is Preston going down our left side. We can do without loose passes like that. That's going to go for a left-sided corner. But yeah, the winner of the award was Arsenal's Bukayo Saka, but he was nominated alongside Saka and Martinelli, and Crystal Palace's Olise. So, as he puts it himself, pretty good company to be in, says Billy, and I agree with him. Taken short, ball fired in, blocked on the line, I think, in close range from what I can see of it, a long way away from where I'm standing. As I've said a few times, they look like a dangerous side. It's been a pretty good start to get ahead by Millwall. I suppose I've got to say that Preston have had a few chances and have looked dangerous coming forwards. We haven't looked as consistently dangerous coming forwards, but we do have that crucial goal, so take your pick of those things. Our passing forward has been a little bit hit and hope, but I suppose what's new? Been like that quite a bit this season, isn't it? One way and the other, but it's worked for us to get us into this position. So who am I to question Gary Rowett? Ball forward, Zian Fleming, halfway inside the Preston half. He's got Vogelsammer overlapping him. Ball back, this is Zian Fleming. Wanted just too long on the ball with it. Fired in from Vogie. Zian just wanted that fraction of a second too long. It was one of the criticisms that was made in our show the other day, the live show we did. Zian just wanting that extra fraction of a second that might separate him from the very, very best in the game, from the championships, so to speak. Crowd getting a little bit edgy because we're giving the ball away quite easily. Millwall throw-in. I think Preston took it as their throw-in. I must admit, I thought it was a Preston throw-in, but it's a Millwall throw-in. Yeah, crowd getting a little bit edgy. We've seen Preston pressing forwards last few minutes. We're on 36, coming towards 37 minutes. And some of our play has been a touch too sloppy for my liking, and the liking of the West Upper Stand. It's going to be a Zian long throw. 37 minutes. Jake and Sean Hutchinson are in the 6-yard box. Jake gets his head to it. It's up in the air. It's bouncing free. The 16 should clear and does. Good work by Scott Malone to get it back to Jules Long there, listeners. That applause reflects that good work. There's a half-time whistle. Mill do lead it 1-0 at the break. Bit of a sense of clinging on at times in that first half. Preston have looked dangerous going forwards. But well taken goal by Tom Bradshaw to put us ahead, and that's really, really all that's going to matter about today. Let's hope we can hold on and cling on for the second half. There is half-time, Millwall 1, Preston North End 0.
Achtung, Millwall.
Welcome back to the second half, dear listeners. Team just coming out into the sunshine. Big shout out to Dave all the way up from Worcester. They've just come over and had a nice half-time conversation. Listener of the show. Big thank you for coming over there, David. A few comments from the internet. Shambolic, a lucky shambolic performance, says Jim Hackett. Just what we need. Matt Richards saying on their group chat that they're looking dangerous too up front and pretty mobile. It's on a knife edge. I think he's right. I must admit, I feel I left that first half feeling like we're a little bit second best at times. We need to raise our game because we are clinging on at the moment. Anyway, teams are lining up for the second half. Preston will be attacking their fans. Mill will be attacking the Coldblow Lane end as per the Venerable Bede's dictums. Chap's just come in wearing a 1990 Spool no advert Millwall shirt, classic, along with a very high white collar but a very high neck. Relegation season, of course. I think we finished up with Millwall written across innings. We couldn't find a sponsor. I don't know why. I don't think our brand was particularly one that the global, giants wanted to be associated with for some reason. I can't fathom why, listeners. Can you? But well played, that man. That's an old classic shirt he's dug out there. I think it was made out of pure polyester. Here comes Jules Saville on the left, dispossessed by Preston. Well, from what I've seen of the opening 2 minutes, we've got a revelatory new game plan, which is to sit back and absorb the pressure, listeners, and hit them on the break. Wonderful new material from the Gary Rowett studio. It's gone all the way back to the Preston goalkeeper. 46, nearly 47 minutes. Oh, poor play there by Hutchinson. Gives the ball to the 15 on the right side. This is Preston breaking forwards. Shambolic defending again. They've still got the ball back here on the 15 on the left side. It's 47 minutes on the clock. The shot blocked. Nice work there by Billy Mitchell. It's gone for a throw-in. We've looked a little bit off the pace all game, listeners, and it feels a bit churlish to be complaining when you're 1-0 ahead, but you've got to call it as you see it. It's my journalistic duty to you as listeners. I've got to call it as I see it. As I said at the end of the first half, we have started the second half clinging on, rather. Ball bouncing around down at the Preston ends. Bit of head tennis. This is Bradshaw just dispossessed on 58 minutes, listeners. Zian wins the ball back and gets yanked back. It's a free kick, surely. It is going to be a free kick. It's a little bit far out for shooting, but he might have a go. Doesn't want for ambition, our Zian, does it? It's right of centre. It's kind of between the halfway between the edge of the D and the edge of the penalty, but it's a long way out. This is Jules Saville going to take it, so I think it will be a cross indeed. It's bouncing around inside a 6-yard box the goalkeeper takes. This is a 17. Edge of the penalty area. Will he get a shot away? It should be cleared. It is cleared. Straight back to a white shirt, sadly. 62 minutes. Preston pressing forwards now, having a little bit of period on the ball in our half. I thought for one moment Saville might have taken the Preston wide right man there. I think he might have feared he'd been a little overzealous. That's the East Uppers view on it. A little bit more blunt and direct than me, perhaps. It's a three-way substitution for Preston as we tick towards the halfway point of the second half. It's not been quite as open from the Millwall perspective as Preston found it in the first half. We have looked to get forwards a little bit more coherently ourselves rather than keep lumping it forwards. There's a crucial half of a half to come now. 67 minutes. We're trying to punt the ball down the middle there. Billy Mitchell wins the ball back well on the right side. Again going the wrong way though. It's going to go all the way back to Jules Long. Under pressure, he's put it into touch. Panicky stuff from Millwall. Panicky stuff, listeners. This is the 28 now, and this is Hutchinson, little chance for the 17. Oh, great defending there by Sean Hutchinson, put it behind for a corner. There was a moment where Preston were breaking free in that penalty over there. 68 minutes. They've taken the corner quickly. They'll need to be switched on. Oliver Burke's in there. Beaten again. Crowd venting their spleen at Burke. This is the 17. Fantastic defended by Danny Mack there. This is Billy Mitch. Mill can't get the ball out of their own half at the moment, listeners. Crowd are getting into a state of hysteria. On for a Preston throw-in. So going to be a change. I don't know what more's going to come in, listeners. And it looks like Essay's going to come in. I would imagine Burke to come out. I can't believe that Burke will continue. He hasn't looked interested for me. Some might call that a harsh viewpoint. Well, there we are. A mixture of applause and a boo. I'm not going to boo him. I just don't know that he's Millwall through and through. Let's put it that way. Anyway, in comes Romain Essay, and it's going to look like Duncan Watmore for Bogey. He gets applause. 69 minutes. Flags fluttering proudly in the breeze over on the Docker stand opposite me. 71 minutes in as this free kick for Scott Malone is lined up. It's going to be a long pump forwards, one would imagine. It is. Towards Jake Cooper, he gets a head to it, it falls down inside the box. Yeah! 2-0! Who's that? That's it, Fleming! 2-0 Millwall! Close range chance, he put it into the ground, he's bounced over the goalkeeper's flailing hands, dear listeners. 2-0 for the Lions. Oh, blimey. That's a relief again. I can't do 5 of these games, dear listeners. I can't do it. You have to get someone else to do your podcast. Go somewhere else. Find somebody else to do it. I can't do it. Ah, bloody hell. 2-0. Nicely taken goal. He's kind of ball's bounced down from that long ball forwards. I think it was Hutchinson got a head to it, I think. And Zian's come in close range, fired it into the ground, and it's bounced past the goalkeeper in for a 2-0 Bradshaw and Fleming goals. I'm going to delete all my moaning parts earlier on in the half now. I'm going to delete it. Sound like I was always upbeat and up-tempo. Always fresh as a daisy for you, dear listeners. Big result if it stays this way, listeners. 73 minutes, we've still got 17 to go. So let's not tempt any lady luck. And she's a cruel mistress, lady luck, I find. Mill dispossessed again. They keep the ball down at our end a lot. They've done that through the game. It's the 2. There's a slightly bohemian air about him, like a poet. Some kind of French poet. Ball breaks. Tom Bradshaw puts it through. Duncan Watmore's on the break. Men are getting back now. There was a moment where he was through on his own, but he's gone to the left side. That's a cross into the box. Onto the line, the goalkeeper takes. His cross-come shot was deflected upwards, and the goalkeeper was able to get a hand to it. 76 minutes. There it is. He's got a kind of a floppy 70s hairstyle, you know, kind of Gunter Netzer. Only when the older listeners remember Gunter Netzer, the West German player. He has a touch of that about him, like he sits around reading French poetry, as I say. He's jinked his way through the middle. There's ball on the line. Wow, the 7 fired it in from close range there. From that, the man I'm just taking a piss out of managed to run it down the line. Very close range shot and cleared off the line by Millwall. We dodge a bullet there. 79 minutes. Wow. Hoof cleared by Jake Cooper there in far more industrial style. Did you vote for your player of the season, dear listeners? I went for Tom Bradshaw, but there's a strong argument, in my opinion, for it to be Jules Saville. I wouldn't fight you if you voted Jules Saville. I wouldn't say let's have it out in the Den car park and get ourselves a ban from the club. If you was to vote for Jules Saville for player of the year, I went for Tom Bradshaw. Who did you go for? You tell me. Let me know by some means. Twitter, probably. Phone us 0208 144 0232 with your reaction to anything. You can leave a voicemail message. I don't answer that number, listeners. It's goes straight through to an answer phone, so you don't have to engage with me in any shape or form. Long ball forwards there, 81 minutes at the moment. Bouncing around. This is what more just couldn't bring that under control, but Preston will bring away. So yeah, Jules Saville's got a strong case for player of the season, in my opinion. There he goes again, old Rambo, but not Johnny Rambo. Is it Paul Rambo? Alexander, I think his name is. Alexander. I'm trying to do a French. It's like another couple of substitute Millwall subs. Mason Bennett, welcome return for Mason Bennett. And Jamie Shackleton, who they're going to come in for. Zian Fleming's coming out for Shackleton. Score of the second goal. Not been Zian's best game, really. He struggled for a bit of form lately, but he's a favourite. They love him down here. I love him. But then stands as one to applaud him off the pitch. That second goal was crucial today. 84 minutes. So out comes Zian. Shackleton's coming in. Tom Bradshaw's coming out for Mason Bennett, dear listeners. Scorer of our first goal, of course. Great to see Mason Bennett return. Let's hope he can stay fit for these remaining 4 games. The end of the season comes at you fast, doesn't it? It's like going down a motorway at 80 miles an hour. The end of the motorway comes at you very, very quickly. 100 miles an hour. Did I just say 80 miles an hour? I actually drive quite conservatively, 65, but I'm going to make out I drive a ton. 16,488 is today's pit attendance. They've just flashed that up on the screen. I like that. If you're listening, Millwall Football Club, I like flashing the attendance up on the screen. That's good. 16,000. There's some good crowds. And we are attracting more and more weekender tourists. Some people don't like that. I just looked at a sticker when I went for my ablutions before the game. And there's a sticker on the wall claiming that we don't want any tourists, we don't want any old bill, and we don't want any lefties. So that's cutting down your market quite a little bit there. I don't know which one I fall into. Who produces these stickers? Who goes to the extent of designing that and getting it printed somehow and then putting it up? It always fascinates me. There's loads of them on the lamppost walking down Ilderton Road. So if you are a tourist, a lefty, or Old Bill, I mean they come here they're paid to come here, aren't they, Old Bill? Anyway, you're not welcome according to that sticker in the gents. Every time Mason Bennett goes into a tackle, listeners, I worry. It's like the Mona Lisa is being thrown around by Pickford's removals or something. You know, don't you think they exist, Pickford removals? One from the past, I bet they don't exist anymore. 89 minutes on the stadium clock. Mill should see this out with no real difficulty. Rare running of the Gary Rowett song there. Preston's starting to look tired. They put that ball straight into touch. They passed the ball pretty well, and Mayfield themselves unlucky to be 2 goals behind in this game. They've certainly looked a lot less dangerous in the second half. Whatever Gary Rowett has done the job in the second period. I thought they were going to come at us, looking quite dangerous like they did in the first half, but nothing much to report in the second. This is a great win for Millwall. We're on 90 plus 2 minutes. I haven't looked at the table. I'm not going to tempt Lady Luck and the fates by looking at things like that. Listeners, gone for a throw-in on the right side. But with just 4 games to go now, then every win is crucial. One more win, maybe we'll do it. I don't know. It depends on other results, which again I'm not tempting the fates by looking at the muses, not looking at them either. Not even if I'm lashed to the den wall here, so I can look and others can't. I don't know what I'm going on about, listeners. I'm prattling. This is Mason Bennett, this is SA now on the right side. The brief is just to keep the ball down in that far right side corner. So doing a good job of. 1 minute of added time to go. Some good performances out there. I'm going to give my man of the match today to Jules Saville. Who I think has been man of the match a couple of times recently. But, you know, it's been a good team performance, especially after that early change in plans by losing Murray Wallace. But Saville has been here, there and everywhere, and I've liked the look of Billy Mitch, the central defenders, all will get mentions and dispatches, but for me today, Jules Saville. There's the full-time whistle, dear listeners. It finishes Millwall 2, Preston 0. I think we're due to a rerun of the old status quo, mate. Crucial win. Wow. I feel quite nervously exhausted, dear listeners. Well, you can't see me this week, listeners, because I forgot my lavalier mic, and well, you won't be able to hear me. As you can detect, though, it's been an excellent in the end. 2-0 win for the Lions. At times it was a bit harum-scarum. But overall, the second half especially, Mill closed out a game, and 2 well-taken goals. One from Tom Bradshaw in the first half, lovely little close-range header, and a crucial second half strike by Zian Fleming, the man from Amsterdam. That's a wonderful win, and hopefully with other results, if they go our way, I've got my fingers crossed, I've got every digit I have crossed that other results go for us. That'll boost us up the table. So there we are. Bit of the old status quo for you, mate. We're going to be back after these messages, dear listeners.
Hello?
Millwall 2, Preston 0. Matt Webb here coming away from the ground. A battling performance. Nonetheless, Preston came there with a game plan to frustrate us and hit us on the counter. We defended well. We really controlled that game. Individual performances and standouts go to Hutchinson and Cooper. Fantastic. Mitchell, it's good to see him back. Saville, man of match in my opinion, was absolutely unplayable today. Really was good today. Really pleased with him. SA came on. Good to see him have more minutes under his belt. You know, showing that confidence. What as well. Apart from that blip he had at West Brom, he came on and was solid. And do you know what? Those substitutions were needed, because at the time, the players that they replaced in the likes of the German and especially Oliver Burke, they were just not cutting it today. For me, Oliver Burke needs not to be playing. I'm sorry, I've tried to give the guy a chance and I really want to support him, but for me, we're carrying him. I don't know what's gone on, but we are carrying him. And I know some other people on the podcast feel exactly the same. It's a shame to see Murray Wallace go off injured. Okay, so we'll have to see what happens there. Danny Mack, one of the best of games he's had. And you know what? Maybe a bit of competition with the likes of Shackleton coming in may give him that little kick up the backside that most players would need throughout their season. Nonetheless, it was a good performance. We come to Tuesday, we go to Birmingham. Birmingham are still in the mix of relegation, but mathematically that is true, but realistically that probably isn't going to happen. So hopefully they might just want to turn up and just see their season out. And then we roll on to Wigan on Saturday. It's interesting now, the playoffs, now that likes of Coventry have come into the mix as well. So fingers crossed, Millwall, let's keep this up. Okay, come on you Lions, let's get behind them, but let's get the right team out there to take us over the line. Come on the Wall.
Hi Nick, John Rankin. Just calling in after that brilliant 2-0 victory
against Preston North End at the Den. Well, I said a couple of weeks ago that our race was run, but it's back on. It's definitely on. I really enjoyed that match. Preston were no mugs whatsoever. They played the ball around very nicely, but our style is such that they kind of run out of steam when they got around the penalty area. And we are definitely the kings of the counter-attacks. We seem to have this system of playing whereby we soak up huge amounts of pressure and then quickly counter-attack. Either have a go on goal or get a free kick, and then we normally make something from the set pieces. But I'm no football analyst, as you can probably tell. But it can be a stressful watch sometimes as a fan. But I thought we did it ever so well. A couple of standout mentions. I thought Scott Malone did ever so well, and I've been a bit of a critic of his recently, but he had a very positive impact, and I thought he actually defended well. Again, Danny Mack was put under a lot of pressure down his channel, and he stood up to it. Basically, the clean sheet speaks for itself. For all the defenders played well. Preston North End made a lot of threats, had a lot of shots, and had a few moments in the first half where I thought a goal was definitely coming. But by hook or by crook, we kept them out. Going on to the goals, it was a lovely goal from Bradshaw, set up by Zian Fleming. And the second goal was just pure quality. One of my friends said to me before the match, Zian's been a bit quiet lately. Would you ever drop him? And I said, of course not, because those are those moments that Gary Rowett talks about so much. And the way he kind of scissor side-kicked into the net, absolutely beautiful. It was a difficult ball. It was bouncing high. He found a way to acrobatically score a goal. So, great home performance. We're going on to Birmingham on Tuesday night. Let's hope we can restore a bit of this momentum we've got now and play like that again. I've got to say, this is of interest as well, just before I go. Before the game, one of our little crew said to the referee, could you please watch all the fouls on Jake Cooper, please? And the referee retorted, which I thought was extraordinary, really, for him to engage on this issue. The referee said, well, he fouls as well, Cooper. So there you are. We're not going to get anything, but I was absolutely devastated, in a way, probably a bit strong, so I was devastated, but we had an absolutely bona fide penalty in the second half. Oliver Burke worked it down the right, got to the byline, crossed the ball low and hard, and the defender, because it was above his, he mistimed his sliding block, just put his hand up. Just put his hand up and blocked it. How we did not get that. And the irony was, the referee gave a handball against Preston North End in the first half, where the ball just rolled up the player's legs. I think it was Preston's number 17, and bounced against his hand. So again, we could have run out 3-0 there, but that's kind of not really a major criticism. I thought it was a tough, hard-working performance, and we're back on. Come on, you Lions.
Hi Nick, it's Angelo, mate. Just a few words about the result yesterday. Excellent to get the win, first of all. Not the greatest performance, but who cares at this stage of the season? And obviously it was imperative that we pulled a little bit away from Preston. So yeah, all good day all round. I thought Scotty Malone come in and done a fantastic job. Cooper was reliable as ever. Hutch had a couple of dodgy moments, but still was solid in there, made a couple of great blocks. Danny had a dodgy game, nearly cost us that goal. Malone saved him on the line. So So yeah, the two midfielders, Mitchell and Saville, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Saville is just fantastic, honestly, really is. And Billy looks like he's back to full fitness, which is great. Because obviously Leonard was a loss, but then when you look at Billy coming in and doing that job, fantastic, mate. He had so many touches of the ball yesterday. Fleming, fantastic assist and a brilliant goal. It wasn't easy to swivel in the air to get that in. Bradshaw, fantastic goal. It leaves us again, everyone questioning the two wide men, Ollie Burke, where I sit, people are just slagging the shit out of him, but you've got to get behind the guy because he's got the attributes to cause damage, I'm more frustrated with the German, to be honest with you. I just don't see what he brings to the team. But, Danny had a dodgy game. The two wingers, dodgy. But the rest of the team was fantastic, So I'm sure Danny will pick up again, just one of them days. But the two Burke's position and Vogel's position, this is where the question marks are, aren't there? But to me, it's a massive question mark with the German. I don't see why that guy starts every week, But anyway, on a positive note, we got the win. Massive game on Tuesday against Birmingham, and then we've got the two relegation favourites, haven't we? So it is completely and utterly in our hands. So all good, and well done to the team. Come on, you Lions.
Evening, Nick. Jim Hackett here. Just sending my comments in after watching that this afternoon. Not sure how we got away with it, but we did. I thought it was yet another ugly performance from us. We managed to get the 3 points for. So at the end of the day, that's the only thing that mattered, was getting the win. How we got it, I think nobody will mind, because we walk away with 3 points. Preston probably go away thinking they're slightly unlucky. Better footballing team. With a bit more luck, they could have scored a goal or two, but then we had our luck, or didn't have our luck at Hull. So it swings and roundabouts, isn't it? I think as a team, we looked edgy from the start, really. And I think today, knowing they're playing against a 3-5-2 and how well they played against us at their place at times, I think maybe Gary Rowett expected us to be more on the front foot, but our passing was so bad that, it was giving them the opportunity to come at us without having to work hard for it. I thought our back four, when it came to passing the ball out, was shocking. And unluckily, obviously, for Murray Wallace, he got injured. And Malone come on. And I think if you were judging the match on since Malone coming on, then I think he'd be close to man of the match, because I thought he had a storming game. And defensively, where he's always been criticised, he definitely saved one goal, and he made a couple of other little interceptions that made a difference. And going forward, he's better than Murray, only because he's a natural athlete that can get down the line and either put crosses in or do something, that you'd expect from a left-sided player. So our back four, I think Cooper and Hutchinson sort of threw themselves in, but our biggest problem with our defenders is they can't pass the ball. And I look at some of the other games. I watched Middlesbrough versus Norwich last night, and you look at these teams and you think, bloody hell, what must it be like for them when they're playing Millwall? Because, as much as we're getting all these results and where we are, we're not even, in the same ballpark when it comes to being able to pass the ball out from defence. And I think maybe missing Cresswell as well as an help there. But overall, I mean, we got the result, and it's churlish, I suppose, to be moaning and groaning about it. But I think tactically, I think Rowett got it wrong. I think we left a gaping hole in the middle of the park all the time, because Saville and Billy had to mark 3 players, and they always had somebody spare. So again, that was slightly disappointing. But the goals, 2 quality goals. The cross and header from Bradshaw, and then Cooper's flick and Zian managing to sort of smash it into the ground before it goes into the net. There's no way the keeper was saving it. So very happy with that. We looked better second half. I don't know what he'd said to him, maybe push up a little bit further, but we looked a little bit better. But we still do enough to give the opposition chances. And I think it's something we've got to look at. I don't know what the situation is with Murray now, whether he's out or not out. Honeyman seems to be out for the season, and for us, we're not a big enough squad. I think SA coming on, I thought he flattered a little bit today. He didn't really do too much, and he looked a little bit lost to me. But I thought Watmore, funny enough, coming on, gave us a lot more stability on the left-hand side. And I think maybe him and Malone might be the answer for the last few games. And when we're playing against these poor teams, we're going to be playing Birmingham, Wigan, Blackpool, we are going to need a little bit of craft, a little bit of quality. So maybe SA will come into it then. But I think overall, a really poor performance, but somehow we got the 3 points, and that's all they can do. So well done the boys. Their spirit's fantastic. The rest of it will hopefully come. We had a nice run earlier in the season, so there's no reason to think we can't go on a nice run now. So on to Birmingham Tuesday. Come on, you Lions.
Hello Nick, it's Matt Richards here. Just phoning in after that game. What a very important win that was. Not the best performance, I think that was obvious, but the 3 points are so vital. This stage of the season, you kind of almost don't care. Or you do care because we should, we need to be playing decent football, possession football, and we weren't doing that today. We just passes going all over the shop against a good Preston team that kind of they passed it around a lot better than we did anyway. Controlled the ball, but kind of just don't care really. It's all about scoring goals, and it's all about not letting goals in, and that's what we did today. Decent performance, great victory. It's funny, the recent games I think we've been creating quite a few chances, we just haven't been putting them away. Today, I can barely remember any other chance. I think Zien had a long range shot. I'm struggling to think of any others. I don't know if it's funny because I don't know if he had a really, really great game, but he ends up getting an assist and scoring a goal. Nothing wrong with that, is there really? I thought Preston moved the ball around well. Their front two quite mobile. Thank God Parrott didn't score against us. Players wise, I thought that Long did okay, made a decent save. There was a bit of dodgy defending second half. Not quite sure what was going on there. Danny Mack playing balls across the box. Moving on to Danny. I don't think he's been playing that well. You can argue, should we bring Shackleton in? Don't know. I think what saved Danny is that we haven't really got another specialist right back really. I thought Scott Malone did really well. Cooper, solid game. Hutch, brilliant last ditch tackle in the first half. Gave the ball away a couple of times, a couple of sloppy, and we were sloppy today. All over the pitch really. What I did notice actually was a few players digging each other out. Saville was digging out Danny. Danny was digging out Burke. And then carrying on through the team, I thought Saville was man of the match for me. Just immense. I think him and Billy kept us in the game in the first half. They were kind of passing the ball around us, but they were breaking up play where they could. Could see Billy back to his best, definitely in the first half anyway. He seemed to be puffing a bit in the second half, but then that's probably because he hasn't had loads of games. Up front, Bradshaw, obviously great game. I thought Burke is Burke, and Burke is just, he's not going to be here next year. I feel sometimes he is trying as much as he could possibly try, but he's not a Millwall player, is he? I thought Vogelsammer was okay, steady. He could probably put his foot in a bit more, could be a bit more, we're calling it the BFG, but he doesn't really put himself about as much as he probably should do, I don't think. Anyway, a solid game, I guess, from him, and subs did okay. SA was okay. So great 3 points. A good day at the Den, and look forward to another one Tuesday night. So that's all for me. Just a shout out before I go to the Lions Food Hub. I was lucky enough to win Zian's signed boots, so I was over there early today picking them up. So shout out to Sue at the Lions Food Hub and to Kelly Webster and the fantastic work they do there. Please everybody, whenever you're down at the Den, and I know they do get a lot of support, they were telling me about it today, but please see what you can spare and make a bit of a donation down there to the Lions Food Hub. But anyway, thanks Nick, onwards we go. Cheers, come on you Lions.
Achtung, Millwall.
Huge thank you to all of the chaps for those voicemails. Now, I normally would speak to Harry in the aftermath of a win like that yesterday, but I'm actually doing this as a two-part show this week. I've got so much content to fit in, listeners. I've decided to divide it into two, so please do tune over to part two of this week's Achtung, where I speak to Harry about that excellent win yesterday afternoon. But just to close today's edition, this particular part one edition, should I call it, just wanted to say a few bits I picked up from the Twitter in the aftermath of that excellent win. A little note here from this is Alex Jones of News at Den, talking about the eternal Roman essay question. He says in the after match comments, Gary Rowett admitted he was close to starting Roman essay yesterday, but ultimately he found it difficult given Oliver Burke's form. And as iCatch has replied, and I must admit I'm with you, iCatch, Burke's form, he's got a kind of a pensive emoji. Am I missing something? I suppose Burke will give you pace. Maybe that's what Gary Rowett is favouring, that and the experience, perhaps. I don't know. I can't see into Gary Rowett's mind. All I know is when I see Roman Esse, I see a top level player. I'll say no more than that. The Griffin mentions Zian Fleming practicing his free kicks, and he makes a point. Wouldn't be Millwall unless we have to have something to mention of this kind, I suppose. But he's saying that nothing's changed with Zian's free kick techniques. He hasn't improved or changed his technique to get a better outcome. Bridport Lion replies, we would need an attacking coach to help with that, and Gary Rowett doesn't do that. Le Picard. I'm going to say it in French style. Le Picard says it's hilarious because Zian has got the technique, but his accuracy is all over the shop at the moment. I actually think that, like in many walks of life, these things go in little phases. I think Zian is probably feeling the pressure, the tenseness generally, as we all are, as we all were yesterday, in my opinion. And for that reason, his free kicks have slightly gone off the boil. But the cross into Tom Bradshaw's head for that first goal yesterday, listeners, was pretty spot on, so I can't pull him up on too much. Johnny Scar H, big shout out to John, says it was a strange day at the Den yesterday. We started the second half worse than we finished the first. We didn't look on it, John, I will say that for you, mate, for the first half and then a chunk of the second. Too many players off the ball, says Johnny Scar. Gary Rowett can't do anything about that. Okay. Gradually, we turned it around for some decent entertainment. Hutch edges it for Sav for man of the match. He's still dreaming, says Johnny Scar. Alex Lee says George Saville. Brilliant performance out of yesterday. Dragged the team through that game to win. Captain without an armband. Simon Hedgepig says it's a tough watch, but at this stage, points mean prizes, says Simon. I do agree with you there, Simon. It is really all about the bottom line at this stage of the season, listeners. We've got another game Tuesday night against Birmingham, where again it's not going to be the performance that they write down after. It's going to be whatever the end result is, and we do need a win Tuesday night. If we win Tuesday, you can start to feel like the playoffs are in the bag a little bit, I think. And Steve Evans, just to close us, yesterday's result was breathed new life into our season, says Steve. Up the fucking wall, says Steve. I'm with you there, Steve, 100%. And just to close us, big shout out to the Lions Food Hub. It was Community Day yesterday, and from what I could see, some good funds were raised for the Mule Community Trust and the Lions Food Hub, both of which we support to the best of our ability on this show. We're hoping to be making another donation to the Lions Food Hub in the next week or two. There we are. That's the end of part one of this week's edition of Achtung Millwall. Please do switch over after this show to part two and hear the thoughts, the Sunday morning thoughts of myself, Nick Hart, and our regular show correspondent, Harry Warren. Until the next edition, so Arrivederci Millwall. Bye for now, dear listeners. Bye for now.
Achtung, Millwall.